It's not that I don't trust you.
No, I don't trust me.
I don't trust
You
you.
said I got 7.
And then I get yelled at by last.
CCR report.
I don't know.
And how many envelopes?
I'm so proud of you.
I think I got 7.
You're already.
Okay, because this is 6.
And all of them,
No, I've got her right here. I think she said 6.
probably close to 6.
Let me
Six.
introduce that. I'll be studying with
Maybe
you.
another one or
Him
two
will either
after
agree with and he'll agree
people
with.
signed up, yeah.
I know,
Okay, all
we're
right, well,
close.
I've got her in here, so I'll
I-
fill out more.
If we don't knock them out,
We're not
we're
gonna do that.
really good.
It's right by me.
Okay.
And you're
Fine.
what's green here?
I'll decide on what chair.
Regional Planning Commission. They're a group that assists communities and counties with grants.
Well, let me know.
Oh, the grant money people.
I don't want to do it now.
Which is why
The indentured servant people.
And I officially signed my name with an M, I screwed it up, and I marked it up, sorry. Okay, so then Lori will get it more good. Thank you. Yours is in blue, right?
No, Lori doesn't sign.
Oh, Lori doesn't sign. Oh, all right. Okay, thank you, Denise. Oh, okay.
That's fine.
So now we're new business? All right. I'm gonna do mine first, just because I can. The use of the park. I'm gonna have to recognize you guys. In addition to the ones we mentioned last week, I noticed on the calendars, the Lewis family
Yes.
on the 24th of May.
Yes.
And so, again, the park belongs to the village, and Lions Club does most of the paying of the bills because of the use during the picnic, and they maintain the bathrooms and all that stuff. But we need to give approval.
Water.
Sorry, and as you might guess, people say, catch somebody on the street who's here, say, hey, can I use the park? And so if it's Jim or Jan or somebody who knows where the calendar is, we usually say, yeah, we need to run it past the board, but we'll put it on the calendar. And so that's why we're here talking about it tonight, even though it's on the calendar. So, does anybody have any objections to Lewis family into the park?
What is Jameson water?
It's
Water. Better than non-water.
All right, so generally we said that was okay. All right, thanks.
We don't need a motion
Staffing, I
to
appreciate
acknowledge
that.
that they're using it.
Okay, and then I think the other two got answered from me already, from the meeting. So any other trustees' comments? I'm sorry, new business, new business?
And we'll be using the park on June 13th for the fish fry for the community betterment.
Good.
Everybody's invited. Good fish.
And can make,
So,
make donate?
We'll start serving supposedly at 4:30, which really means 4. And we have a band, and so hopefully everybody can attend. Hopefully we'll have no rain.
And we can get some fish without cornmeal on it.
And it's eat and pay what you want, so it's a donation, whatever.
What's
you want.
that? We'll request
I'm
that.
allergic to corn.
So that's all I got.
Thank you, Jan. Anybody else? New business? All right. Board of Trustee comments. Anything you want to speak about, or?
Well, I would like to address the community, I guess.
Sure.
I did at the last board meeting, because I was just kind of feeling my way, being there and doing the right thing. But I want to tell people that I'm glad that I'm on the board, and I appreciate the support. I look forward to the board looking more forward rather than looking behind us. I'm hoping we can quickly line up the ordinances and get those done, not necessarily so we can implement the panel of complaints, but so that we can get on with, because I've had a dream for Jameson, and I've been working on that dream for about 20 years now. And it's interesting that I'm now sitting on the board and having to bring the dream forward. I'd really like to see some progress, and I consider progress being the town growing and developing. and what lines that involve, I'm not sure of at this point. I'm going to take the time while we're doing ordinances to form a plan or, present a presentation of maybe some of the things we could do to advance. I do want to thank the Betterment Committee. I want us to be able to work hand in hand with them in this progressive way of looking at something, and I hesitate to use that word because it's such a politically incorrect word at this point. But, so I just want to really tell the Betterment Committee appreciate the things that they've done for Jameson. And thank the town again for their support.
Thanks, Lori. Can I ask you a couple of questions? That's great, that's exciting, I'm excited about that. Do you define developing and growing population as well as like a business community too, or I do know I can wait for the presentation if you want, but that's a question that I have.
Yeah. Yes, to both, yes.
Okay.
And still retain the small town flavor.
We'll come to a community level meeting anytime, the third Wednesday of the month.
Right there before this, but she's been before.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, any other board members have any comments? Any comments from the group out there since we've...
I just have one comment, and I think Lorianne just addressed it, so that's what triggered it in my mind. Plus, on your information that you gave out to us, that seems to be an agenda that I guess, I don't know, Lorianne and some of you, but it's like the suggestion is that keep Jameson going and growing. So is there some kind of a plan or something is formulating that's what you mentioned, population?
I was just
Growth
inquiring.
or-
Are you looking at the yellow sheet on top of the ordinances? Is
Yes,
that
I
what you're looking
am.
for?
Just a little looking forward to working to keep Jameson going and growing, and then
It's just something I wrote when I was writing that sheet.
Trying to write
It's not been adopted by anybody with
Right.
my wording.
okay.
But I'm not against it dying and shrinking, so I guess, I mean, personally, but I didn't, just like, she said she didn't have a definition. I
Not
didn't.
adopt the slogan yet.
Yeah.
Because we've only got, unless we incorporate other outside areas or something, there's only so much, there's so
And I
many
was thinking of population and
vacant lots.
businesses or whatever, so. No, I wasn't thinking, when I wrote that, annexing was not in my mind, but I appreciate the clarification, but it doesn't say I'm for or against it, that was not what I was thinking.
I'm going on record as having said this because I've said it for 20 years now. It's like that was one of the reasons that I bought so many places in town because I want to live in a small town. I love our town. I love the way it was when I came here. I like the quiet little quaintness because you give up some things by living on a gravel road or having water issues or this, that, and the other. But I'm small town, John Mellencamp all the way. So it's not like I'm going to fight you or anything like that, but I'm just wondering what is the vision here? Because I thought first we were talking about cleanup, people with messy lots or maybe hazardous things, and now I'm hearing this about. I don't see how that.
Well, the
anybody can
cleanup-
sell their lots or.
The cleanup isn't this. The cleanup is community betterment.
Right.
That
All of
is,
the ordinances we think.
And people,
Right.
because I clean up all the time. And
right. But,
Stuff in
and I
the
don't know how you refer to cleanup, but community betterment really tries to address that as often as they can and aside from ordinances, with cleanup, what I
Right.
consider, whether it's trash pickup or property maintenance, like the house that was torn down and now grass has been reseeded and all these things. So those are all the positives that there again, but that's community betterment. So I don't know how you're addressing, cleanup, but maybe it's community betterment that you need to be addressing this too.
I think betterment, the betterment, but also the betterment of our community, because even though I don't like, maybe you work on a Saturday to pick up, but you can look at my back of my truck right now. I pick up along because I frontage a lot of the road, so I'm always picking up cans and beer cans and cigarette packs and this, that, and the other. On the road, it doesn't have to be, that to me is, I'm not the organization.
Right.
And every time I take my brush cut or something, and you mow a street, or you mow the ditch bank or something, I guess, clean up a broken down house or trees that are dead and dying. I'm just talking about the overall look of our community, which is everybody is cleaning up their places and stuff, I think. But I just had that question about, because I didn't know what, and I guess maybe if there is a vision for like the growth of the community, then we'll see that. But I didn't know if there was a specific idea there.
I guess to try and be directly responsive to your question, the comment on the yellow sheet in front of the ordinances, we look forward to working together to keep Jameson going and growing, was, I think going is important, and I think that if you don't grow, you die, and I'm not saying we have, I mean, that's the options, right? Is that pretty soon everybody dies and then there's no more people here, and so if you don't grow some people as people die, so I guess I'm defending the term growing and not saying that there was any conspiracy or group think that put that word together. I'm owning it.
Okay,
and
and just to comment to that, because people, the town, I mean, there are new people here in the last 20 years. Like, I'm a newcomer, and I'll never be local. I get that, but I mean, when you look at the people that have moved here, outside of that, people have come here, and they may have come for their own individual reasons, but a lot of them maybe came to have a nice, quiet, little peaceful, friendly community where we could be more self-sustaining on our own and not ruled by so many oppressive ordinances or government issues and all that kind of thing. So to look at a community growing, maybe that's, I mean, nobody's going to move here unless they want to live in Jameson, basically.
Well, I see growth is stuff like the museum and even Sarah's and
Okay.
you know, the
And the
the
community
events
building.
that the
Yeah,
community
they're
building and the
cool.
events that we do on weekends and things that you know that is the kind of growth that's happening.
trying to keep the school, keep the school.
Yeah.
I would, since Donna mentioned, thank you, Mary. I would mention that, because folks don't know unless they were Betterment's next big project, our last big project, which means we have to raise outside money for it, we can't just rely on the fundraisers that we have, was replacing the school windows. And in 3 months, we raised $20,000 to replace all of the school windows on the west side of the building and the blinds. And that was a big project, and that was meaningful, and people, obviously not just the people who live here donated money, but many people who graduated from the school or have an affinity for Jameson. So the Betterment's next big project, which is going to be dollar-wise more than that, is across the street where the brick ruins are. We'll be building a community building, one that's large enough to have gatherings that are bigger than this, whether it's a Betterment organization or whatever, an auction or whatever it is. And so the scouts, volunteer scouts and scout leaders came, and Jim Dooley worked for 2 or 3 hours a couple of weeks ago and sorted bricks, and it's going to take a lot of people donating their resources and their time and equipment and money. So that's just FYI. All right, any other comments from the public?
Well, just
Sure, from you. Go.
that the Board of Trustees and the Betterment work hand in hand and help each other. They don't compete against each other or anything like that. And so sometimes I think we get mixed up in what the Betterment Association does and what the Board of Trustees is supposed to be doing. And we can't, because at the Board of Trustees, it says right here, the Village of Jameson is entrusted with the duty to protect public health and welfare and establish the regulation and maintenance of the village, and often it's impractical or unaffordable to employ or contract for the services required to fulfill these duties, such as ordinance enforcement, building inspector, mowing, and the like. Therefore, the board deems it necessary to have alternatives to performance of these services. It don't say anywhere that we are supposed to be doing all this other stuff that the Betterment does.
Right.
So I just think sometimes that
The line
maybe
gets blurred.
you think that, you understand what I'm saying? That you think that we are supposed to be doing more of what the Betterment is doing. And our responsibilities are not the same at all. We just should work with them and them with us. And
I think we do work both. Hi, Sue.
Well, I don't really have any facts and figures, but I would look at the school as kind of being the barometer for the town. And when you see that graduating classes, I don't know, used to be what, 10 or 12, and we had 2, it kind of shows that Jameson is on a downward spiral. I mean, I don't have any facts and figures, but I don't think it's showing upward spiral because the school is really a good indicator of what's going on. Then look at your tax base. If you went back for the last 20 years and said our tax base back in 2000 was this, and then that'd be the income from property taxes and whatever else you get money. And now what's our tax base now?
Actually, it's higher than it has been. It's actually gone up a bit. Part of the tax base and the figure that we charge for taxes is based on growth. New construction, building, that type of thing.
Yes.
And so actually, when I first took over the job 6 years ago, we were lucky if we got $1,200. This year we collected $3,000.
Well,
So there is a growth in tax. Part of it was collection, but also part of it is based, like I said, on the fact that
Higher rates.
when the state sends me the numbers to calculate, it's based on, there's sections there that say new construction and that type of thing.
So they
So
reassess.
it's
And so,
yes.
and so the property values have increased
Some of
probably.
it, a
with
portion. I
inflation.
mean, there is some growth. It's not accurate to say that it's declining. It's actually in the last 3 years we've started to see some growth within the statistics that they're sending us. Population is a little bit higher. Income is a little bit higher according to the census. I mean, most of this stuff, is based upon census also, which is why that's very important.
Well, I would think it would be good to really visualize that, because I would think that trustees would have to be concerned with which way are we going? And always be looking at tax base as a good bellwether.
And your comment about the school, I wanted to comment on, about it being a bellwether, and I believe that was true when I was a child. We have so many people who homeschool or send their students, their children who live here in this town
Yeah.
to another school district to go to school. And so I think that it's not as reliable with my understanding of how you're using the word bellwether as it has been in the past because of those
But
things.
I look at the fact that they can't afford to do their windows. It means
Oh, you mean the
that,
school can't afford to do it?
right, they can't afford to do that kind of maintenance.
Well, those are funding issues.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
right,
those
but
are-
it's
but
kind of
you
like
have
they
to-
get their money from taxes.
Well,
Right.
but no,
And-
when you talk schools, you're talking different funding mechanisms than when you're talking
There's
the
state
village.
money and there's
There's
federal
state
money.
monies, there's federal monies, and those have all been cut. So when you look at a school district, you're talking different pockets of money. When you look at the village, our basic income is based on personal and property taxes. We don't have a lot of state funding. We have the restricted funds, which are the road funds that we get from the state. And we have the franchise tax from the FEC. But
Electric
school
co-op.
districts receive different pots of money than what, so you
Based on
can't
based on
compare like
attendance,
apples and
though. I think those are based on attendance.
Some
Part of
are.
it is based
Some
on
are.
average
Federal
daily
money, some-
attendance, yes.
No.
Which is why it's very important that children are taken to school.
But the biggest part of the
To get the money.
taxes that we pay are because of the school, right? Because when I
The
get my
biggest
tax
chunk of your
statement,
tax
it's
bill
coming
is the
out,
school,
it's
yeah.
$300 and some
Yeah.
dollars.
Yeah.
And so we were here, and like AOA, they pay taxes, they don't have to,
They do, they pay their
but they
taxes
pay
too.
taxes, and so.
We have
that's
some
what
who
support
don't,
the
but the
school.
majority of the people do.
And so that's where the biggest part of it comes, to support the school. The school is.
The biggest chunk of your bill.
I
But
would
the
tend to
school
look at
district,
what
not
they-
even-
but
Yeah.
what you have to remember is the school district is much broader than the village of Jameson.
Yeah, because they go clear up the coffee and all
So
that
it's,
stuff.
again, you're talking different, almost apples and oranges.
Good talk, good discussion. Do you have
No,
any-
thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for coming.
Thank
I
you.
entertain a motion to adjourn. You seconded it already. At least the move, Lori seconded. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for coming, and let's remember Natalie in our thoughts and prayers.
Oh, I will not miss it.
Plus you
I
want to
told you all to
throw
come up and have some bread or biscuits.
Allison bought some warm, fresh baked bread and biscuits.
Everybody else there.
All right, they're gonna need to sign up.
Check
for Jameson. They're made out.
I hear you well.
I don't know if I'm
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.